to meet you.
Hey, EG, thanks for bringing me here to your podcast.
Our honored guest today is Antoine. And now, excuse my French, please, because I haven't studied for a long time. But your surname Dutauziet, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Dutauziet. That's very easy.
Antoine Dutauziet is our honored guest today. I'm very happy to have you here. And tell me, Antoine, what are we gonna talk about today from your own perspective? What would you like to share?
Well, it's a great question. I feel like we have some tracks, but I'd like to share a bit more about my personal path, my personal journey to becoming a coach and to becoming an entrepreneur. And I think it can be very inspiring and interesting for the audience to see the ups and downs of a regular guy who is trying to find more meaning in his life, more balance, and he wants to have a positive impact. So that's what I want to share today, to inspire, to share, and to give you also at the very end. I think we're gonna give a little tool. So stay till the end because you're gonna have like a free, very powerful tool you can use already today in your life. That's what I want to share.
Antoine, do you feel there is a transformation in the world coming or happening at this moment? Do you feel it?
I feel it. I also experience it myself because I'm fortunate enough to start to meet and attract more and more people, just like you, EG, who are part of this transformation. I would say a transformation in consciousness, and also wanting to bridge the world of business, the world of value creation with consciousness. So how can we actually create businesses and systems that support humans and the planet, and also help us go from having to being, right? Changing from the economy of things and stuff to more of being, quality, silence. So I see it, I feel it in my connections.
I will just say at the beginning that you were for a long time in the corporate sphere in the big company Amazon, and you decided for some reason to leave. Was this a difficult decision for you? What was the inspirational or turning point for you to leave and start your own business?
So it's a great question. I did everything people expected me to do to be happy and to be successful. I did studies, I worked at Amazon, but something felt wrong inside of me. I had something was itchy and didn't know what it was. I was 28 years old. This was 12 years ago. And some of my colleagues were starting to burn out. So I was like, if I stay here in the next 2 years, maybe I'm next on the list. And on top of that, I was fortunate to come from a pretty wealthy upbringing. So I didn't have any money problems. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put 1 year down and just leave and explore myself and find what's so itchy. And that was the beginning of my adventure.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. So this is an exciting. I would like to thank our audience, people who are listening to us now. Thank you very much. If you have any question for me or Antoine, especially for Antoine, please write them under this video. Antoine will be very happy to answer every question, and we will be happy because we could continue our podcast in the future.
Sure. Maybe this is just one. So yeah.
Okay, holistic leadership. Now I have a little bit more deeper question, more in-depth question, and more difficult question. Your coaching approach focuses on harmonizing physical, emotional, and mental aspects. Could you explain how this synergy enhances leadership performance, please?
Yeah. So, I was trained in the highest business schools in this country, in France. I studied very hard. I was very much in my mind, in my head, and I was in front of a computer at Amazon, like Neo in the Matrix. And I realized when I left my job and I went to Thailand, I met some mentors in Thailand, and they helped me reconnect to my body and my emotions, because I'm not just a brain, I'm also a heart and a body. And actually this body supports the emotions and the mind, which is one of the latest rows on the ladder. So I started working in my body, in gardening. I started moving my emotions through emotional release protocols, active meditations. And I started realizing that as I was doing that, I was feeling more and more balanced. And this was helping my mind to be more quiet, sharper, aligned, and making better decisions. So as I started doing that, I was like, this is getting better and better. But you have to start with the foundations. And the foundations are your body. So how do you take care of your sleep, your hydration, your nutrition, your breathing, your posture, when you're sitting, when you're walking. And as you put in awareness into that, mindfulness, you can then get more balance with your emotions and your mind. So I would say that this is the holistic approach that I've gone through myself, and I'm sharing with all my clients, whether we work one-on-one or in companies, because I see how important it is and how disconnected we are in our modern life from, just being humans connected to all our chakras or all our intelligence centers.
And when I would thank you very much for sharing. When I would go even deeper, how do you help your clients exactly, and how do you choose which techniques to use to help them?
Yeah, so I've studied yoga, I've done yoga myself, hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming. I work with shamans in Peru. I've taken ayahuasca, San Pedro, I've explored my own consciousness. And as I've done that, I've realized that the more I know myself, the deeper I've dug, the easier it is to relate to someone and to connect to them energetically, emotionally, mentally. And to answer your question specifically, it depends on the person I have in front of me. It's always going to be different depending on where they are on their path, what problems they are aware of, and what problems they are not aware of. Right? Some problems they are consciously, they can say, oh, this is a problem I need to solve. And then you start to dig and you realize there's something deeper. And sometimes they're not aware themselves. Like I wasn't aware when I left 12 years ago, I wasn't aware I was disconnected from my body, my emotions. So I would say it's a one-on-one specific when I do private coaching. Then I do have workshops, and I come with some ready-made solutions, for teams. And when you want to dig deeper, it's always one-on-one. It's always signature.
And Antoine, when I read your journal, you are mentioning hypnotherapy. What is it?
So what is hypnotherapy? The way we learn, the way we are trained, our minds, we learn through repetition. And if you look at the society, the consumer society, all the billboards, drink this soft drink, eat that type of burger, right? It's all these brands, and we learn to recognize them. They occupy a certain position in our mind as a box. So this is kind of hypnosis, and you can program yourself with different things. And you can do dehypnosis, hypnotherapy, dehypnotherapy, to dehypnotize yourself from all the conditionings. And there's techniques where you connect to the unconscious mind. You put someone in a trance. The way you do that in a trance is through a cue. It can be a physical cue, a breathing. And you put someone in a trance and you help them work through some unconscious material. That's very interesting because, like the iceberg, there's a part above the water, which is the conscious. And then there's all the unconscious under the water that we're not aware of. So with the help of a hypnotherapist, that person can take you to explore what's under the surface. And sometimes it's good stuff and you want to reinforce that, and sometimes it's bad stuff where it's not empowering you. So you want to rewrite, you can reprogram the lines of code that says, what's going on with your mind. Because sometimes there's a short circuit, like in electricity. You have a limiting belief sometimes about, for example, I had a limiting belief about success and money. Because as I told you, just a short example, I come from a wealthy upbringing, but my parents were not happy. When I was 5, they divorced, and my mother took it very difficultly, and she tried to kill herself many times. Thankfully, she's still alive. But I had a limiting belief about success and money. I said, oh, if I succeed, maybe I'm going to be as unhappy as my parents. So that I had this limiting belief deep down inside of me, and I had to do some work to get free from that limiting belief. And I did it with the help of hypnotherapy.
Thank you very much. I would like to get you out of your comfort zone a little bit by giving you a chance to ask me some question.
Wow, that was unexpected.
We didn't prepare this.
Yeah.
This is unexpected.
So I would like to know, in your personal path, E.G., what is the moment, just like you asked me, what was the moment when I decided to leave my comfort zone from Amazon 12 years ago? What's the tipping point? What's the moment that made you say, hey, I need to change something in my life, What was the element?
Yes, I understand. This questions is very good. Thank you for it. I will try to answer. Generally, in every life there is some difficult transformative period when things happen. Like this could be a death of a friend, it can be a divorce, it can be moving, and all these things which I'm mentioning happened to me, and they moved me forward. But also, so these transformative things, but also some illnesses which I overcame. Like I'm talking about serious illnesses like infection of brain and other. I don't want to go deeper into it, but just to mention it. So these things, when you overcome them, it very much moves you forward. And also, I'm trying to get inspired. My greatest inspiration is my mom, and from some of the authors, which I would like to mention, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, and other people who are inspiring me as well to move forward. So this is from the positive perspective. And affirmations, positive affirmations, I do every morning, and winter swimming, I do every morning. So these things come to my mind when you ask.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, winter swimming, I guess you have the climate for cold swimming, right, in Czech Republic?
Yes, and I am in the mountains where it's minus 10 degrees last week.
Wow.
So even on the river there is ice. So thank you very much for this question, Antoine. If you feel any urge to ask me anything during this session, please be so kind and stop me and ask me anytime, please.
Okay. Sounds good.
Next thing, which is very, very interesting for me, is emotional intelligence, concretely emotional release techniques. Could you mention this, please, to let our audience know what it is and how you work with these emotional intelligence techniques?
Yeah, this is a big thing, especially since, in our culture, we live in repressive cultures, boys don't cry and women don't get angry. That's kind of the two information we get, at least that I got when I was a child. And us men, we're very much in our heads, as I mentioned. It's difficult for us to express our emotions, to share them. When a woman is not doing very well, she usually talks to her best friend, right? She's the first psychiatrist of a woman is her best friend. But for us men, we tend to put everything down in a box and push it down, and and I discovered this when I went to Thailand, when I met these mentors, that I had been repressing emotions for a long time, and that was not good for me, to repress anger and sadness and all sorts of other emotions. So I discovered this this mystic called Osho, O-S-H-O, from India. You probably know him. And he started to share with the Western world. He was from India. And in the 60s and the 70s, he started to bring these active meditations. He said, the Western mind is so fast, it's difficult to sit under a tree like the Buddha, 2,500 years ago and just awaken. You need to move the energy. Emotion is energy in motion. You need to move that energy, that negative, destructive energy, so it can become creative. So he had all these exercises he was sharing. And there's an excellent book that I suggest everyone reads, which is called Emotional Wellness from Osho, O-S-H-O. So Emotional Wellness, it's a thick book. And it's very interesting because he goes through the how we repress ourselves, how we can free ourselves, and he has all these active meditations that you can start to use in your life. So you can find it on Amazon and Kindle. You can download it, you can buy it. It's in English, and I don't know if it's in Czech, that language, but it's definitely a great read, and I would encourage anyone to start to use that.
Please be so kind, Antoine, and put down under this video on the YouTube link, put down the name of this book afterwards. It will be very good. And also put your contact details so that people can contact you in case they feel like that they would like to get in touch with you. Now I would like to ask my last question for today before going to further. This is about decision making. For me, it's very difficult to make decisions in my life. And I had been learning from the samurais in Japan, from Aikido techniques, which I studied very long, to make it better. How do you improve your decision making yourself?
Yeah, thanks for the question. this is something that I've been working on for a long time now. And I learned to, as I reconnected to my body and my emotions, I learned to align the mind with the heart and the body. And when you do that, you feel your intuition start to come through. You start to have insights. And intuition is when your mind is quiet, your mind is clear, it's quiet. And you have these moments of silence where you let reality come through you, and you feel more your way through life than you think your way through life. So there's a balance, but it's the intuition, and it's really a science and an art, and it takes time. But the more you work on yourself, the more you balance the body, the emotions, and the mind, the more the intuition start to shine through. And in different situations, you will feel like, oh, this feels like the right way to go, or this is, no, I'm not going to go that way. I'm more going to go this way. So it gives you direction. You don't know the end destination, but you can fine tune the direction. So the way I do it, if I have an important decision to make, I work so I can have a clear, quiet mind, right? And then I allow the answer to come through me.
I have one technique too, that I'm standing and trying to follow my intuition, and it pushes me forward or it pushes me backwards. And in this is how I make the decisions with the intuition. This is very good. I'm glad that you mentioned it. It's a very deep and good knowledge. Maybe we could put down, I have got one book which is concerning this. I will put it down under this video. Now, I don't remember the name, but I will find it and I will put it under, about the decision making.
I just want to add something. What you said is very interesting, because the body knows. As you see, you actually ask your body, your intuition. Your body kind of knows if you want to move forward with something or if it takes you back. And the body has a wisdom that the mind sometimes forgets. So we try to think our way through life, but sometimes our body, there's a body talk, when you communicate, it's about 10% the words that come out of my mouth, but 90% is the voice, the face, the expression. And that's why they have all these, machines to know if someone is lying, because you can actually measure it on the body rather than just the words. So it's interesting what you mentioned here with how you make your decisions, because you know that your body has a wisdom and you can trust that also.
Thank you. Thank you. I will let this sink a little bit. If you have any more thoughts, please share with us before I proceed with the questions. But you don't have to. You can if you want to.
I think this part is pretty clear.
Let's continue with the little bit probe into your personal life from the past, present, and future. And my first question is about past. What are you most grateful for from the past, from the business point of view?
From the business point of view,
Yes.
grateful for, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that I've been able to start my own coaching practice after doing a lot of work on myself. Because first I was living kind of someone else's life. I was going through business, going through the moves because I had been told to do so. Then I had this exploration that didn't last 1 year. It lasted 9 years. It lasted 9 years to work on myself. There was so much work to do. And I trained myself in the process. And now, since a bit more than 3 years, I'm working for myself. And I'm very grateful that I'm able to do that. Because this is my, ikigai, this Japanese, ikigai, the mission, the vocation, the passion. And this is I'm living my ikigai. I'm going through my work and my vocation. Yeah.
Thank you very much. My next question is about present moment, so that people can understand a little bit more how you work. What concrete projects, Antoine, are you working on at this very moment?
So right now, for example, I'm doing a workshop. This is a physical workshop. I'm doing twice a month on the weekend. And for 3 hours, 3.5 hours, I welcome 5 men at my place. And we do this emotional work. We talk and we do breathing exercises. We do the emotional release protocol. And we help them align themselves in a semi-private group. So I'm very happy to launch this workshop that I'm working on. I'm also on a broader scale. I'm working with a common friend we have who's called Sandeep on a project called Renewalism to help change corporate culture by renewing the habits in the organization at all levels, employees, managers, leaders, directors, to change the corporate culture and make it more sustainable. So we are working on programs for companies of different sizes. And I'm also spending a lot of time and energy on that project. And this is on top of the private coaching. I also work, of course, with entrepreneurs and leaders to do private coaching. And that's a fair share of my time and what I love to do. So, yeah.
So the first one is in Paris, personal.
Yeah. Personal in Paris. Yeah, it's on site.
The second one is online, right?
Yeah, the renewalism is online with Sandeep, and we do everything is available online. And then the coaching I do, private coaching, is also online, like we're doing right now, because you can do a lot of work purely online.
And my last question for today is about your plans for the future. Antoine, what are they? Can you invite us to something interesting in the future?
Yeah, well, I also want to do retreats that are longer than half a day. So I want to do weekend retreats in the countryside here in France. We have beautiful nature, you know, in the south, and we have the mountains, we have the sea. So at some point, I want to also start organizing retreats for leaders, for entrepreneurs to be more balanced. That's a project that's coming up. And I'm starting to do also talks, public talks, storytelling about my life, because I'm finishing to write a book, and I have a 15-minute storytelling that I can also use in workshops, whether it's on site or online. And for now it's in French, but I'm going to translate to English. So that's also something that I'll be happy to share if anyone is interested.
So please also put under this video this link for your sharing, story sharing.
Yes.
And have you any final message for our audience, takeaway message?
You know, I feel like a big part of my journey was to learn to follow my heart and to be authentic. You know, who's the real me? I ask myself, you know, I don't feel at my place here in this job, in this life. So my recommendation, you know, my inspiration is just dare to question yourself and ask yourself, who am I? Who do I want to be? And follow your heart. If you feel like something is out of place for too long, just jump off and find more balance for yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Jiří Borč. My honored guest is Antoine Dutauziet. And thank you for coming, and I wish you good luck in your enterprise.
Thank you so much, Jiří, and we